We actually going live at the right time. Fantastic. Welcome to This Week in Poker. I'm Chops. It's Brian. It's Colin. We're the entities who comprise Wicked Chops Poker. WSOP main event kicked off yesterday. It's a big day, a lot of excitement just around the Rio in general. We've got a great show lined up for you. Our first guest will be coming on momentarily. Just won the Ante Up for Africa tournament this weekend, Phil Gordon. We'll also be joined by 2009 World Series of Poker main event champ Joe Cada.
Cada? Cada?
Cada. Two former last women standing, Tiffany Michelle and Maria Ho. And UFC Octagon ring announcer Bruce Buffer. He just opened up a poker room at the Luxor and was just privy to one of the best UFC cards I think I've ever seen, UFC 116. Before we get any further, Brian, why don't you tell everybody how they can interact and talk?
This show is a live format show, very interactive. When we have our guest on today, the best thing that you can do is ask questions via the Ustream live chat by going Q or typing Q and then colon and then type your question, and we'll work it in via our discussion with our guest and then getting to the viewers' questions.
Back over this way. Anybody? Hello? Thank you. Big story this week. The World Series of Poker main event kicked off yesterday. Numbers from day 1A compared from this year to last year was up by 9 people, but that's better than being down by 9 people or down by more. So given what happened with day 1D last year and the way the numbers have been trending, it looks like we could be up, maybe even hit a $10 million first place prize. That's a very good thing, good number for poker. Other big story, and probably a good time to bring him out, and speaking of just big in general, Phil Gordon, come on out. Phil won the Ante Up for Africa tournament.
Chops. Good to see you.
How you doing? Good to see you. Really big victory for you? And you donated all the money to charity.
Yeah, you know, it was great to finally win a tournament at the World Series of Poker. Yeah. Unfortunately, it did not come with its own bracelet, but or any prize money for that matter. Well, oh God, I'm just so depressed right now.
When you got to heads up with Shannon Elizabeth,
yeah,
did you feel like you had to win? Like, would it? How bad?
Like, would you have had to walk? Like, when you're playing golf and you don't hit it past the women's stage, you got to walk around.
You know, it's not like there was a bracelet on the line, so I didn't really feel any pressure from that perspective. But I knew that I was going to donate 100% of the money, and I knew that she wasn't.
Yeah, right.
And
did
so,
you know? So you heard about
I just
that.
kept thinking in my head, do it for the kids in Africa, do it for the kids in Africa, do it for the kids. And fortunately, I got lucky and busted her.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, how was it playing against her? Was it actually, because I didn't watch it.
Look, she's a really good player. I mean, she plays a lot of events. She played a lot of events in this World Series. But, you know, the blind structure in that tournament is not conducive to a long heads-up match. In fact, we played exactly 2 hands.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I think I had 720,000. I think she had 120,000, and the blinds were like 12 and 24,000.
Yeah.
So it was basically just close your eyes and shove it in. And I had such a big chip lead, she was going to have to win 3 or 4 hands in a row in order to come back. But yeah. But I did feel a little bit of pressure to win. Yeah.
Tell us about the track scene.
What are you talking about?
I think maybe
you should say. What are you referring to?
Up and bottle it.
Yeah.
What are you referring to? This beautiful white lady's tracksuit?
Beautiful white lady's tracksuit.
How did you find a tracksuit that could fit you?
My buddy Ray found it. There are 7 guys wearing tracksuits throughout this World Series of Poker promoting the Bad Beat on Cancer initiative. As you well know, the Bad Beat on Cancer is the official charity platform of the World Series of Poker.
Yeah.
We're asking everyone that plays in the main event to donate 1% of whatever they win in the main event to the Prevent Cancer Foundation. So far, in the last 9 years that we've been doing this at the World Series of Poker, we've raised $3.3 million, believe it or not. And I think we're going to get a huge turnout this year. The Rio and the World Series of Poker has really done a great job of helping us with the branding, helping us with sign-ups and signage. And I'm expecting a huge turnout.
Just walking around the tournament room today, just tons of green patches like that.
Yeah, a lot more than years past. Definitely a lot more than years past.
So, I mean, what does the white tracksuit have to do with Bad Beat on Cancer? It's just a way to get people talking about it, you know?
And it evolved from a prop bet.
Yeah,
Between
Rafe and Joe Seabach had a little prop bet on his on Joe's radio show or TV show, and
Rafe is a dangerous guy to do a prop bet with because
Rafe actually lost the bet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he loses.
And yet Joe is still dressed in tracksuit today too. Yeah,
it's so like he does that all the time.
Yeah,
and it's you can see it in the, like I mean he's a smart guy.
Yeah,
and so like he lost that prop bet, but immediately
he like tried to turn it. Yeah. And that's exactly what he does in business too. Anytime you have a business idea together, he like gets really excited about it, and then you end up doing all the work.
Yeah. And he goes off to
do it. Exactly. But we do I do want to mention two guys that we've got playing today in this championship. We have two guys that are playing 100% for Prevent Cancer Foundation. Anything they win and everything they win will be donated, and that is my buddy Ace Bailey and our friend Daniel Horowitz. Both have pledged 100% of everything that they win.
That's awesome.
Are they both original Tilt Boys, or?
Neither of them are original Tilt Boys, but both of them are angling to be admitted to the club.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the Tilt Boy relationships like these days? Are you guys still? I mean, obviously you're older. You got families.
We are older, and in fact, one of us is a year older today.
Actually,
I was wondering how long it was going to take you. You know?
We have.
It's not every day you turn 40.
Special activity.
Thank you so much.
We want to make sure you're regular.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so lovely. Cheers, boys.
Cheers. Well, no, what we call that? A birthday activity party.
Wow.
That's been sitting out all day.
That's what I'm going to look forward to in my older years.
I think I had Pepto in my pocket.
Wow.
I don't think you want to touch that.
I can feel the run starting right now, which is not going to be a nice match with the white tracksuit.
Now, somebody asked a question on Ustream. Where have you been the past few years? I think that's a legitimate question.
That is
You're
a good
not
question. Yeah.
as visible, at tournaments. You play the World Series. Pretty much that's it, right?
Well, even the last 2 years, I haven't played the World Series. I played one tournament 2 years ago. My son was born May 28th, and the series started May 29th.
Yeah.
That was my first son. And for me, it was just so much more important to be home and supporting my wife and, getting used to the new baby. It's just such a life-changing experience. And I wanted to be there for all of it. And so I played like one or two events. I played the main event and one other.
Yeah.
Last year, I played 5 events, and since then, we've had another kid. Zachary's now 6 months old, so I've really been focusing on being a good dad and focus less on trying to beat 7,000 internet geniuses that are all better than me.
Yeah. How is that though, coming in like when you haven't played all year and then coming in completely dry as far as?
Well, I mean, I had a great World Series. I had a great time here. I played 15 tournaments. I made 3 good deep runs with 3 solid cashes, not even including the Ante Up for Africa win.
Yeah.
So
against Shannon Elizabeth.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I had four solid results out of the 15 tournaments that I played in, and forget the results. I had a good time playing.
Yeah.
And I plan on playing some World Poker Tours this year. I plan on always playing the World Series of Poker. But again, with 2 young boys under the age of 3, it's just much more important for me to be a good dad than it is for me to try to grind it out on the circuit.
And we were talking beforehand about your 2 sons, right?
Yeah.
There's a prop bet out there about your sons or one of your sons about how tall he'll be.
I bet on the wrong one.
It's a big bet.
Yeah, it's $50,000 bet with Rafe. I got 10-to-1 odds.
Okay.
That my oldest son would be 6'8" or above.
Yeah.
And I bet on the wrong one. I think he's going to be about 6'4", but my youngest, Zachary, is huge.
Yeah.
6 months old, and he's already busting out of the 15-month-old clothes. He's like well off. I mean, like an inch taller than the 100% marker on the height charts for the babies. I mean, he's ridiculous.
So save the tracksuit for him. You can.
He's ridiculous.
Pass it down
I mean, he is one massive kid. Yeah.
Push him towards athletics, basketball, something.
I'm not going to push him towards anything. I'm going to push him to whatever they want to do. Yeah. I think both of them seem. Well, you can't really tell this early. What am I going to say? My kid looks athletic.
Yeah.
I did win a couple of dollars at a pool party a couple of days ago when my 2-year-old was making baskets in the pool with a basketball. So that's a pretty good sign.
So you final tabled the main event in, what was it, 2001? 2001. You've had some success. Is winning, I know obviously you're focused on being a dad, but is winning a bracelet still something that you would consider a big priority life-wise for you?
Yeah, of course. But you know what? I got my World Series of Poker bracelet this morning for my 40th birthday. My sons made me this my first gold bracelet.
Sweet.
It says WSOP, World's Greatest Dad, Love X and Z.
That's awesome.
And
can't really beat
you know, what are you going to do? I mean, yeah, I'm going to continue to try to win a World Series of Poker bracelet, and eventually it will happen, just by sheer luck.
Yeah.
But I'm not obsessing over it like I used to.
Right.
I'm obsessing now about teaching my kids the names of shapes and numbers and the sounds that frogs and goats make.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me is much more fun and challenging and rewarding than trying to beat 2,000 great players.
Yeah.
You were one of the first guys that really did a good job crossing over after the boom. You were doing a lot of media stuff. You had Celebrity Poker Showdown.
Yeah.
You still do stuff on ESPN, the podcast with Andrew Feldman. Do you think that do you have interest in doing more media-related stuff?
I would love to do another poker TV show as a commentator or announcer. I miss doing that. I liked teaching.
Right.
And if one thing, people made fun of Celebrity Poker Showdown. It wasn't poker. It's not, But if there's one thing that did come out of the show is that I did get a chance to teach an audience that might not otherwise play poker a little bit about the fundamentals of the game, raising if you're the first one into the pot, that kind of stuff, like just very simple fundamentals. Not to say that the celebrities always did what they were supposed to do, but when you were watching that show, I think you could learn a lot from the mistakes that they made. And I had a great time teaching, and it was a fantastic show. I really miss Dave Foley, by the way. He's such a great guy.
I remember when it came out, we liked the show. I mean, it was an entertaining show.
It was totally fun. Mm-hmm. It was nothing but fun.
Yeah. Was it painful though sometimes? Because you had.
Oh yeah. I mean, when they fold the nuts or they do something idiotic, and you just kind of shake your head. I mean, I remember one hand with Dennis Rodman, right? He had Queen Jack, and the board was King Queen Queen, and Cheryl Hines bet after the flop, and he folded.
Yeah.
Like never put a chip in the pot. King, Queen, Queen on the flop. Let me review this.
Yeah.
King, Queen, Queen on the flop. He's got Queen Jack and never put a chip in the pot. So I asked him later, like, what were you thinking? He said, well, I thought she had two pair.
Wow.
So I don't know.
Daniel Baldwin wasn't on that show, right? He was on the other home game.
Yeah, he might have been on the World Poker Tour's version of it, yeah.
Because he was, I don't know if you remember that one.
No, I never watched that show. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's true.
Yeah.
Do we have questions from the viewers?
We were having technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties.
Do you know if we are? Did we cut out?
We did not cut out.
Because I've got a black screen here, and some of the viewers are saying technical difficulties.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just time for me to
some more activity.
For more activity. Yeah,
I can't believe I stuck around for 2 more hours for this.
No, I know.
Like,
it's so amateurish.
This is the future of broadcasting now.
Yeah, it's but you can tell it feels like we're in like the first week of radio or the first week of TV because part of it's just the connection here at the WSOP.
Yeah,
just been giving us fits.
How are we doing? Are we back? I've got a few more interesting things to say.
We've got a few more interesting segments for you.
Yeah, we do.
Doesn't look good. Does not look good, boys.
Yeah. So how much did Shannon end up giving?
She gave 50%. We're off here officially.
We are.
Yes.
Yeah. So the real story is someone put her in,
Right.
Yeah.
and he donated. She had 50% of herself
Right.
in the tournament,
She donated that amount.
and he donated.
We're live again. Or at least the audio is.
It says off air right now.
then never mind. But no photo, no picture.
Oh, that's an interesting feedback loop we
Yeah.
can get into there.
You might want to turn the volume down.
Yeah, we don't have a picture, but we seem to have audio.
Keeps getting choppy audio, nothing else. Thank you, Bryant. I'm reading your chat. We can wing it.
Okay.
We do podcasts.
Why audio only's fine?
Audio only is fine. So if you're listening still, only audio for the people that are in, you can still submit questions. We'll talk to Phil about it. And in the archived video footage, when we do get the show wrapped, we'll still have everything that we're discussing. And
It'll all just seamlessly integrate.
Yeah, nobody will ever know the difference.
Yeah, right.
So moving on. I'll save that. I'll save my segment to the end when hopefully we get graphic images again.
Yeah. So you're playing today, right?
No, I'm not playing today. I'm playing on day 4.
Day 4. Okay.
Which is going to be the crowded day.
Yeah.
It's the day that we hope we'll see not the same issues as last year, but maybe
Yeah.
break like the 3,000 and
Yeah,
hopefully get over like 7,000 or so. Have you heard any internal rumblings on what they're expecting turnout wise?
I don't know, but it'll be up from last year. I mean, I think they've held back enough seats for day 4 to accommodate any and everyone that wants to play.
Yeah.
I don't think the World Series would be dumb enough to have the same problem again that they had last year.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you were involved in the poker world before the boom.
Yeah.
Big part of it during the boom. Compared now to 10 years ago, what's some of the,
Yeah.
outside of the field sizes, what
Yeah.
are some of the biggest things that you've seen that have changed in the last decade?
You see, well, a lot more Europeans playing, and not only Europeans but Australians and Kiwis and South Americans, and it's a lot more varied culturally, and the youth that you see wasn't there 10 years ago either.
I mean, you were 10 years ago. You were probably.
I was 30 10 years ago, and I was one of the youngest guys in the game. But now, I mean, I would say the average age of the person playing out there can't be much higher than 32, and the median's probably 28.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's just it's very interesting to see the fields get younger and younger and younger every year, and the level of play get higher and higher and higher, and the number of players get higher as well. And it's just it's one of those things. It's Eric Seidel said to me about 5 years ago. He said, "Enjoy it now, because in a couple of years you're not going to want to play poker because they're just going to be just so good." And that's come true even faster than he thought it would.
Yeah.
Was it a lot seedier? Did it feel seedier 10 years ago? Does it feel like it's kind of cleaned up over the last decade?
It's much more mainstream. I mean, 10 years ago when I said I was a professional poker player to people, everyone looked at me like like I had some disease or something, like no one really understood. And now, you say you're a professional poker player, or you are a professional poker player, and you get some respect. It's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I see you on TV, blah blah blah. But it was never that way before.
Yeah. And you say that you see the players get better, they're younger.
Yeah.
But then again, and they're playing nonstop. They're playing multiple tournaments at a time online. You take a year off of really from playing a lot of tournaments.
Yeah.
Come to the World Series and you do well. I mean, what do you think it is?
Luck.
You think luck?
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not saying I'm not a skillful player. I mean, I know how to play no limit hold'em, but I'm not as good as the kids are. I haven't played a gazillion hands in the last 5 years. I don't play a million hands a year.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting too because
I still know the game, and given the right circumstances and getting lucky every once in a while, there's no reason I can't win too.
Yeah.
But they have an edge.
Yeah, it's interesting because like back say 5 years ago, like poker education really was going out and buying like your book Doyle, like the
Expert Insight DVD.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that too.
I did. I like that.
Yeah, but I mean that's completely changed. Like, do you think those books are even obsolete now as far as?
No, I think there's still a very good place to start, but I do think that the online training sites have a big advantage. Obviously, video over the internet is such a better way to learn than anything that people had access to 5 years ago. And Card Runners does an excellent job, I think, of presenting that information. And the Full Tilt Poker Academy is another great spot to go and learn the game, where you can see the world's greatest players you know, including Phil Lively and Patrick Antonius and Tom Dwan and these guys actually playing poker and talking you through what's going through their head as they're sitting down and playing on full tilt. It's a great way to learn.
How, like, for the really good players out there, how important do you think it is for them to accept the role as being an ambassador for poker? Like, you obviously took on that role.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players you know that are still just happy. It's all about, you know, playing poker, just winning money, not necessarily getting in the spotlight and representing poker. I mean, how important do you think it is?
I think that you know, there are 20 names in the game that people care about. Really, you know, still. And you know, some of those 20 do an excellent job in media outreach, and some of them do an absolutely pitiful job at media outreach and could do better. But the ones that don't want to do it, you know, they don't want to do it because they don't like to do it, and they don't think they're good at it, and they don't see an ROI for it, and they don't think they really owe the game anything.
Do you think part of the ROI though is when we look at legislation? You know, somebody like you that's outspoken and you know, pretty politically active. I mean, that helps. Being a good representative helps. You know, the way people view poker and poker players in general.
Absolutely, but you know, not everyone has the same skill set or propensity to do media.
I'm having a flashback to, like, what was it, like 4 or 5 years ago when we said, you know, Phil Gordon for president.
Right.
I forget what it was too. It was something that you were.
That's right. We made this. We made.
I won the mayor of Phoenix. I won the race for mayor in Phoenix.
That's true. That guy's taking over your Google indexing, isn't he?
Yeah, he actually is. Yeah. Asshole.
And about, you know, as far as online poker legislation, you know, you're pretty confident about where we're going.
I wouldn't say I'm confident. I'm hopeful.
Hopeful, okay.
Yeah. I mean, look. I mean, just to talk politics for a second and turn the 7 viewers completely off.
Yeah.
40.
40. We have 40 right now.
40 live, and we are back. Audio's there the whole time.
And it's dropping every second. Oh no. Okay.
51. That was 10 like that, but we are back.
From a political perspective, you know, if we don't pass something before November, we are facing a tremendous uphill battle. Because
why by November?
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that the Democrats are going to get trounced in the midterm election. I think the Democrats are going to lose the House for sure. I mean, you can just like bank on that. And then there's probably 1 out of 3, maybe 50-50 chance they're going to lose the Senate too. And unfortunately, you know, having Republicans control both the House and the Senate and have a Democratic president, it's just going to be complete gridlock. Which I'm basically for, except for this one issue. Like, I don't really want the government to do anything. Right? I kind of like a split legislative and executive branch because they don't do much. And you know, the government that governs least governs best. And but unfortunately, I think what will happen is that this issue is just going to get swept under the carpet, and if the Democrats can't bring it to the floor in the House and the Senate, I don't think we got a shot in hell of getting it passed.
Conventional wisdom, you know, we've been in touch with lobbyists, as I'm sure as you have. And conventional wisdom was nothing was going to happen before November. It was going to happen after the midterms.
Well, you better hope that the Democrats don't lose both the House and the Senate then.
Yeah, because but people were pretty optimistic about it. The lobby groups, and you know, we've heard estimates as much as 70% chance within the next 2 years that we'd see something regulated. We've heard it as low as 20%.
Yeah, I'll take the under on 70% for sure. The bottom line is this is not an issue that is close to the hearts of either party, you know? And rightfully so. We've got a lot of tough issues facing the country right now. Regulating online gaming probably shouldn't be one of their highest priorities. Now, there are a lot of great reasons to do it. Don't get me wrong. You know, the tax consequences, the fact that 80% of the population believes that they should have the right to do whatever they want on their internet connection, the fact that it's you know, a WTO violation for us to be you know, not letting the foreign corporations have access to our market. All those things are great reasons to do it. But we've seen over and over and over that the government usually doesn't do the right thing.
We have a question about this too. He says he lives in a state where there's no PPA work being done. What can we do to help in these states? That's a good question. Is do you look at
he's in Alabama too?
Yeah, do you look at this as being a federal issue or a state by state issue? You have California that keeps trying to.
Yeah, I believe that it should be a federal issue.
Okay.
And I'm a big believer in states' rights, but I think the only way for poker to succeed as an industry is to have it taxed and regulated at a federal level. I think if you start seeing individual states regulate it and only allow play within their state boundaries, or even like the mega lottery where they have 13 states, that model won't really work. And I'd like to see federal legislation. I think that's for the good of the game, and and it is just the most expedient solution to the problem. But I would say to the guy that wrote in, I would say contact John Pappas at the Poker Players Alliance. He would love to have some support in Alabama, and it's super easy to get involved. The guys at the PPA are tremendously willing to work with anyone who wants to volunteer.
I mean, do you think the grassroots type efforts are effective, or do you think it's
Absolutely.
more about the lobbyists and the gaming companies pumping money to the lobbyists?
I can tell you this. I've spent an enormous amount of time on Capitol Hill in the last 5 years. And when people write in, it gets noticed. Like if you write a letter to your member of the House or a member of the Senate, they read every letter, and they've got a little tally sheet, like issue for, against. Like they know exactly who's calling in on every single issue that's before them. And, if suddenly, this guy got 30 of his friends tomorrow to call his member of Congress and his senators and say, you need to do something about poker, and there's 30 marks on that list for poker, that person's going to take notice.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take an enormous amount of phone calls or letters to make a big difference in what the members of the House and the Senate view as a groundswell of support for an issue. It just doesn't take that many.
Last segment for you.
All right.
Before we get going. Joeology over there. Do you have the poker metaphor graphic? Is it still loaded? Okay, well, I'll explain it. It's a speed round. We ask you as many questions as we can in 60 seconds.
Okay.
They're just fill in the blank. Try and rifle through as many speed round
hit
questions.
me.
So it's poker metaphor,
We need a clock.
meaning that you've got to answer a lot of questions very quickly. I think that's what the graphic says.
Okay. Let me get in the zone. Let me get in the zone.
Yeah, get in the zone.
I got a timer.
You got a timer?
Okay.
Tell me when.
I'm in the zone.
Ready, start.
Online poker will be regulated by the U.S. government by?
2014.
If I had to describe Scott Stapp in one word, it would be?
Joke.
The first thought that went through my head when Ray first won his bracelet was?
Oh my God.
Same as Scott Stapp. No, just kidding.
Yeah, no. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Okay. The hardest thing about having two kids is?
Poopy diapers.
The last movie I saw that made me cry was?
The Blind Side.
Really?
I cried in The Blind Side. What am I going to do? I'm not going to lie to you.
Not judging. I'm not judging. The poker term I like the least is?
Overrated.
And sometimes when I see Phil Hellmuth, I wish he would just...
When I see Phil Hellmuth, grow up.
And that's
That's a
it.
good one. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All
Congratulations
right. Thank
again.
you, guys.
Happy birthday.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
And thanks for all your hard work on behalf of Bad Beat on Cancer too. You guys are
Appreciate it.
champions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good luck on day one.
All right. Thank you guys.
We're gonna go with Bruce.
Okay.
He's gotta go.
Gotcha.
All right,
Why don't
enjoy
you
that.
sponsor plug?
We'd like to thank Phil Gordon for looking straight up. He's so tall. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Victory Poker. If everyone that's watching could, and on Twitter, tweet thank you at Victory_Poker for This Week in Poker, #TWIPKR. Thank you at Victory_Poker for This Week in Poker. And while you're online, jump over to, or after the show, to victorypoker.net. You can learn about how you can submit a video of yourself and why you should be a member of Victory Poker, Team Victory Poker, and you may win $100,000 in tournament buy-ins, a car, and a condo in Vegas for 1 year.
Great. back over here, Big John. Our next guest is a UFC Octagon announcer and a very regular figure on the poker circuit, Bruce Buffer. Bruce Buffer.
Welcome.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Good to see you.
How you doing?
I almost got stuck doing that. It.
Listen. I mean, if it's the let's get ready to, then maybe we have a legal issue.
No, I was gonna take an attempt at the it's time, but
Actually, you know what, guys? I just got a formal trademark on it.
Nice.
The government actually issued me a formal trademark.
so it would have cost me money to actually say.
No, we're all here in love and poker. It's
Listening to 1100 a.m. on the way in, they were actually talking about that, and then also just having a debate on who's the better announcer, you or your brother. You were winning out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Because I got to tell you something, guys.
They said you have fantastic pitch. It's almost like you sing it now.
It's getting to that point. I think what's next is the It's Time variety show in one of the Vegas hotels. We just got the poker room. Now we got to do the variety show. Then I have to question the fact, do I want to live in Vegas? So that's going to be the next issue.
We're definitely going to talk about the poker room, but before we do, got to talk about this last UFC card because it was one of the best overall cards I've ever seen.
It was honestly, I've been doing every show now for about 14 years. I mean, I'm like the Cal Ripken of announcing, right, when it comes to UFC, but we've had great shows, and we've had a lot of really great fights and great events. This was the best compilation of main event fights for the pay-per-view that I've seen in like 2 years. I mean, Dana was blown away, I was blown away, all of us were just staggered by it. And Brock Lesnar, let's face it, when you think about Ultimate Fighting and you think about the Gladiators, and you think about how he pulled that win out, that's like the ultimate. I don't think I could have written a better script.
When you were sitting there watching, were you surprised that they didn't stop it in the first round?
No, not necessarily, because it happened right in front of me. And look, we're dealing with a championship fight here. That means that decisive win has to take place, right? So as Carmen was laying down punches, which I heard to the tune of 60, 70 punches, but Brock was blocking, he got in the fetal position, he also pushed him away, he was kicking him, and he wasn't in danger. Sure, he got cut. Sure, he was possibly in serious danger. But when I noticed about Carwin, as great a fighter as Carwin is, when you're throwing that many punches, the cardio started to kick in. And like Brock said, where it was like this, then it became, right? So a lot of punches accumulated, but then Brock got up. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was
What do you think we learned about him in this fight? I mean, compared to his other fights?
What I'm seeing in Brock Lesnar is you see a man that's a mastodon of 265 pounds when he weighs in, probably about 285, 290 when he walks in the octagon, on the next night. But you're seeing him go through an evolutionary process. He's a fantastic wrestler. He has the mental attitude, bar none, that you need to win at this game. And he has a learning skill factor at even his age that he is still learning. So every time I see him fight, I see direct improvement, whether it's the striking or, in this case, the submission.
He submitted him, which I couldn't believe that he ended up submitting him. Yeah.
Well, when he was on the side, I turned to Sean Shelby, who's a matchmaker for the WEC on my left. I go, why doesn't he slip in a side choke? And Sean said, because he probably doesn't know how to do that yet. And all of a sudden, his corner yelled at him. He transitioned. He got the side choke in. Then his corner says, move up. And all I remember, this is what I remember from the fight. I see him go like this, and then I hear him go, and it was over. Yeah. And Carwin went to the hospital. I mean, Shane Carwin's a great fighter. You can't take anything away from Shane Carwin. That's the thing about the UFC. These are the alpha and omega greatest gladiator conditioned fighters in the world. These are supermen. These are truly supermen. Not taking anything away from boxing. I love boxing. I'm talking about UFC.
And just the overall skill set, though, obviously, between boxing and MMA guys, can't even compare.
Were you surprised that Brock seemed humble, this time by his win? And do you like him? He was somewhat seen as a villain. Do you like him as a hero? People were like cheering his victory a lot more so.
I think what you're going to see is because Brock, after the last year's July fight, became the ultimate heel of the UFC, as they call him in wrestling. Because you have half the crowd that loves to see him win, half the crowd that loves to see him lose, kind of like some of the treatment Tito Ortiz has gotten over the years, right? So with that, you're really commanding tremendous attention from the fans, and you really become a huge pay-per-view draw because you have people buying that pay-per-view for two different reasons, right?
Yeah.
I was very happy to see him handle himself with class that night, along with all the excitement that he was allowed to exude after a great win like that. Will we ever see the other side of Brock come out? I mean, probably. You probably will. And that's where, as a fan, and as all of us are fans, right, we can anticipate that kind of like entertainment along with the great fighting entertainment that we're going to see. So mainly what I'm saying is Brock is just probably the biggest attraction in the UFC right now.
Do you think, last UFC question probably, unless we get some from the viewers, but Anderson Silva coming up, is he going to get his shit together? What's going on?
Wait, the thing is that...
Was that the most bizarre thing, too, that you ever saw with him in his last fight?
Yeah, it's bizarre in one way, but I think when I really try to analyze it and judge it, because let's face it, he is definitely one of the top 3 pound-for-pound greatest fighters in the world today. Sometimes when you're a great fighter, you need a fighter to take you to that level to keep showing that you're a great fighter. You need somebody to really bring the fight to you, right? Anderson Silva performs best when a guy comes in and the fight is being brought to Anderson. A guy is coming after him. And he's just overwhelming. But the one thing, and I love Anderson. He's a great guy. He's the most humble, polite, nicest individual to ever meet, as most everyone is in the UFC. But it's like the showboating. I don't like it. I love Sugar Ray Leonard. I thought he's one of the greatest fighters of all time. I used to hate it when I saw Sugar Ray Leonard showboat in boxing. I'm not a lover of showboating. So I don't care who you are. I don't like it. Get in there and fight. Do your thing. But sometimes, like we've seen a couple times, it's just so easy for him. And then something just clicks in his brain. So hopefully that's the last time we ever see it.
Yeah, it would be good, definitely good for the sport if that doesn't happen for him again. And
yeah.
I don't know how, I mean, you got to imagine Dana White serious, but if you were to pull something like that again, you'd hate to see him.
Well, one thing about Dana White, and I call him Chief because he is Chief. I mean, you know, I bow to Dana because we wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for Dana White and the Fertitta brothers. That's just the way it is. But Dana, trust me, will walk in that locker room and have a serious conversation with any fighter that needs to be talked to, whether it's Brock or Anderson Silva, depending on what goes on. So you can trust that Dana will put the 2 cents on what needs to be known.
To somewhat segue to poker, you see a lot of poker sites sponsoring, fighters, MMA fighters. Do you think that marketing is paying off? Do you see MMA fans, the poker sites acquiring MMA fans on their poker sites?
Yeah, I do, because if you want to talk about the internet world of poker, right, we're talking about a 21 to 34 demographic of people playing online poker. Well, that's the 21 to 34 demographic of men and women, of young men and women, is the hearts and minds demographic that is completely with the UFC. I mean, they are that's who we've conquered. The Ultimate Fighter TV show has captured the hearts and minds of that demographic, younger and older. So I do see where I think for poker companies to attach themselves to some sort of MMA marketing, UFC marketing combination is smart, because right now there's such a thing as the ground floor stage. Back in the Moneymaker year in 2003, poker online was at a ground floor stage, right, basically? Yeah. Well, now when you combine the combination of poker and working with MMA celebrities or, people that are well known in MMA like myself and the fighters, of course, now's the ground floor to start making these relationships work. And as UFC, which is the rocket ship to MMA, builds and everybody else follows, then that will allow you to build your marketing too. So there's going to be an evolutionary growth in marketing when it comes to the combination of the two, and now's the time to get it in. Definitely.
And I think it makes sense too when you look at Las Vegas. I mean, the epicenter of the poker world and UFC is Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So this is kind of where it's emanating from.
Well, on Saturday night, I coined a term. I said, live from the fight capital of the world, right? That's what this is. This is the fight capital of the world. And goes to say that goes hand in hand. Listen, the mental similarities between fighting and playing poker are very similar. Not the physical, because we
not the physical, but the mental.
Yeah, if we walk in the room, we're going to see very few physical specimens of poker, shall we say. But in that respect, what you have here is you've got a perfect niche. Yeah.
We do have some questions coming in, and somebody asked, where did you learn to play poker, and who taught you the game?
My dad taught me how to play poker when I was about 8 years old. He taught me 3 things. He taught me poker, which in those days was 5-card stud, 7-card stud, and draw. Jacks are better. He taught me how to play blackjack, which I used to actually be semi-pro blackjack. I was playing casinos when I was 18. Can't do anything about it now. That's when I was 18. Long time ago, guys. And my dad was a boss gambler here in Vegas, and he taught me about horse racing. And you know what he taught me? The only way to follow a horse is with a shovel. So I never bet on horses, and I thank my pop. God bless you. I lost my dad 2 years ago. But he was a huge influence on me, and I was playing cash games when I was 14. And I got into the world of No Limit about 5 years ago very seriously.
Where do you play poker now?
Hotel, baby.
Or how about brick and mortar?
Brick and mortar.
Commerce.
I play in LA. I play at Commerce. I play at the Bike, and I play at Hollywood Park, depending on the tournaments. And the Hustler's got a nice casino too.
And then in Vegas?
In Vegas, at the Bruce Buffer High Stakes Poker Room at the Luxor Hotel.
How's that going?
We had the grand opening on Friday night, and it was far beyond our expectations.
Yeah.
It was incredible. We had we sold out in the morning for the tournament. We were forced to take alternates for the first hour. Well over 300 people showed. There was media and press from all over the world and magazines and stuff. I was so amazingly, I'm pitching myself, guys.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
There's 5 guys in Vegas that have poker rooms named after him, and I haven't even won a bracelet yet, you know? So, I mean, it's an honor. I'm humbled by the whole thing, you know? And the Luxor's fantastic. They did a great job. It's a beautiful room. They're going to dress it up even more. They got the Buffer Zone store across the way with all this merchandise, and everybody had a great time. Carrot Top came, Fernando Vargas came, Vander Holyfield, all the girls from Fantasy. You know,
What kind of promotions can we expect to see? I mean, is it just going to be straight up card room, or will there be UFC, related?
There's going to be
heads up matches, or
what I want to do is the marketing is taking place now, and hopefully there will be some internet, satellites available. So let's say there's a UFC in Vegas, or a weekend that I pick when I'm going to be in Vegas. Then people can play. There'll be amazing cash prizes and awards, and they can work up to maybe play me heads up. Or I was thinking about doing a 360, like maybe where there's 3 cash tables and I'm in the middle with a swivel chair, and I'm playing 3 tables at once. Right. So we'll call that like the 360 cash game.
That's great.
And then I'll put together some high stakes games, which look, it's not Ivy's room at the Aria.
Yeah.
It's not Baldwin at the Bellagio. We're not playing 5100, 100, 200, but we'll have some really dynamite, heavy 5, 10, 10, 20, 25, 50 games there that I'll put together. I'll get Maria Ho and Tiffany to stop by.
Yeah. And you brought up the 360. Can we expect to see the 360? I hear you're introducing Phil Hellmuth. Is that true?
That decision will be made today. There's some political issues going on right now.
Okay.
What other safe
Will you see it at the World Series at all? When you
I would love
to do it at your table.
I'm making it known to the World Series, since I'm here, that I would love to come out on tomorrow or day 4 and open up the show for everybody. Okay. Which I would love to do. I've done that before for smaller events here at the World Series, and I actually introduced Hashem and Daneman in 2005 when they made the final table. Yeah. So basically, the 360 was retired the night I did it. That's a very special. Okay.
Do you think poker needs an announcer like you? I mean, we really don't have. I think Jack Effel's doing it now. But,
Nolan Dollar tries to do it.
Nolan Dollar, but do we need? We have shuffle up and deal as a catchphrase, but. Do we need something big like that to
I think what you need is to either bring, as what happened when you brought my brother in a couple of years ago, I arranged for him to introduce the final table, and Michael's the greatest announcer of all time, and somebody put it funny, they said one time, Michael's like a fine bottle of Bordeaux, and I'm like a shot of Jack Daniels, right?
We should. How about you practice or do it's time for shuffle up and deal? Or
I would love to, but one thing in life, guys, is that when you're too accessible and you see something too much or you hear it too much, it doesn't become as special as it was.
Yeah.
Like could the 360 happen again at UFC 200? How's that all considered?
Yeah.
Will I do other things like the 360 or blow people away with other moves? I never know what I'm going to do till I get in there.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that I give 150% every night, and you will see stuff that you'll go, what? How do you do that?
Yeah. And now that it's trademarked too, I mean, we have to pay you for it, right? If you do it.
Well, it's good to get paid, and you should be paid, because if you start doing things for free, then everybody thinks you're Bonzo the Clown, and they ask you in the hallway, like people, say it. I love you, I appreciate it, but I'll say it on show. Right?
It kind of segues into the last segment that we want to do with you.
Let me answer that one question real quick. Announcer, I think the best thing to do would be that when I'm here, because I'll be here every year, is let me come in and do special occasions for you and keep it special. Let Jack Effel, who's great at what he does, do his thing, and bring up certain celebrities to do the shuffle up and deal. Then when I get in there, or if there's somebody else that wants to try and get into my spot or whatever, or that spot, so be it. But I guarantee you, let me come in and you only want to see me do it once or twice during the series. Yeah. Because then it's special.
Well, I was asking too, though, maybe not you, but is there somebody out there that could assume that role?
I'm sure there's always somebody for something. It's a matter of finding the one that fits. Yeah. Most definitely.
Okay, so talk to some of our listeners, some of our staff. came up with a list of top 3 things that would sound much cooler if Bruce Buffer said them.
Oh, really?
So we got 3 things. If you could deliver, maybe kind of like in your It's Time or something like that, kind of poker related, some of them are.
Right.
We got 3 things. So the first one is, I can dodge bullets, baby.
I can dodge bullets, baby.
Wow.
That's pretty good. Second one, it's not you, it's me.
It's not you, it's me.
And the last one of our least favorite poker phrases, but might fit pretty well with this. One time.
One time?
Yeah.
One time.
Oh, more energy. We want more energy.
One time.
There we go. Excellent. Thank you. I know you're busy. Thank you for,
thanks,
for coming and doing the show, and congratulations with the poker room.
Thank you. I'd like everybody to come down, enjoy themselves. I mean, we're gonna really make this thing work big time for everybody who wants to come down. But you guys are great. I really love Raw Vegas. You show me a lot of love, and I'm always there for you. And keep up the good work.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great job.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
And wish me luck during the series, will you
good luck.
please? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, boys.
Day 1 is
Day 1 is going to be hopefully day 4. I'm going to go
4.
take care of that right now.
perfect.
So it's time to watch Raw Vegas without me. I'm gone. Okay, bye. All right, thanks, boys.
Yep.
Thank you.
You, Joe.
Yep. Victory Poker Plug, please. I insist.
We'd like to thank Bruce Buffer, and we'd also like to thank our sponsor, Victory Poker. You can win $100,000 in tournament prize money if you go to victorypoker.net, upload a video of yourself of why you should become a Victory Poker team member. And in addition to $100,000 in buy-in money, you'll also win a new car and a furnished apartment on the Vegas Strip. May not be on the Strip, but it is in Vegas. And if you could take the time to thank our sponsor by tweeting thank you at victory_poker for This Week in Poker, #TWIPKR. And I'll drop that in the chat room so you can cut and paste it and send it along. Our next guest?
Our next guest, reigning World Series of Poker main event champion, youngest ever, Joe Cada. Come on, Joe.
You need like music.
I know, we do. Good.
Good.
How you doing?
How's it going?
Good, thank you.
Let's get right into it. 2010 World Series. How's it been treating you?
Not well.
What's been going on? Is it running bad? Just too much going on? Because I know you got a lot of responsibilities that you got to burden, with obviously with Poker Stars and just being kind of the spokesperson or face of poker really for the year. Is it that or just kind of running bad?
I mean, I'm running bad, but I mean, I can't really say I'm running bad. Won last year, so I mean, it's just part tournament variance.
Yep.
You're going to lose tournaments. That's how it's going to go. You can't run out forever. So hopefully I can turn around in the main.
What kind of pressure did you put on yourself going into this series as far as performing well? I mean, did you really think about it a lot, or was it just see what happens when you got here? And
there's pressure just to perform again or win something instead of going goose egg like I did.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't really look at it. You just got to play good poker and just whatever happens happens.
yeah.
It's been probably a year that has, I would guess, exceeded your expectations as far as everything that you've been asked to do from Poker Stars. Has doing all the media or just being that kind of representative for Poker Stars, I don't know if burden's the right word, but has it been a burden? Has it taken away from your game?
It's a little tiring. I can't grind online as much as I used to, just because I'm always gone traveling and doing different things and playing a lot more live events than I used to. So I used to be a big online guy and play all the time, put in like 40 hours a week, and can't really put in those hours now. It's getting burned out too much.
Yeah. Do you has it kept you from doing a lot of things that you would have thought you've maybe gotten a chance to do after winning? Like
we were
going out buying a house.
Yeah, well, I think we were thinking about it too. It's like you won the main event. It was, I think, $8.5 million, $8.6 million. But immediately, you have to go. You're representing Poker Stars and you're representing poker. You have to do all the talk shows. You have to play tournaments in Europe and Latin America. So you don't, like, if I wanted, it'd be nice to go home, buy a big house, like travel.
2 middle fingers in the air.
Yeah.
Just see you guys.
Screw you, everybody. Yeah.
Who are you?
I mean, does part of you wish that you could have done that? I mean, because it's been a busy year for you.
I'm not gonna lie, there's part of me that, I wish I could do that, but,
Yeah.
responsibilities too when you're winning it, and I don't mind that. I mean, this year's been great. It's only been a little bit too much, like the first 2 weeks after, because that's when I'm constantly running around and waking up at 3:30 in the morning to do something, or so. I mean, that was the only really time I didn't really like it too much.
And I think you said before too, you were somewhat shy.
Yeah,
beforehand,
exactly.
And then all of a sudden, you're thrust in the spotlight. I mean, that has to be a huge, transition.
Yeah, I could never give speeches for my class because I was never wanting to go up and talk. So now it's so different with so many cameras.
Right, but regardless, you embrace the role of being that face of poker. I remember doing an interview with you even before.
I think what he's saying is you didn't disappear like Jerry Yang.
Yeah. You didn't do the Yang disappearance, but it was something that you were willing to embrace at least, and take on that role. Do you feel like you fulfilled that role effectively?
I hope so. I mean, I'm not the greatest talker or spokesperson, but I do what I can. I mean, do whatever obligations that they require me to do.
Did you enjoy the late night talk show making the rounds on that?
The late night talk show, I was completely nervous to do that, and
it's the real deal.
Yeah, I didn't know what the questions were going to be either, so I was kind of thrown off a little bit. I wish I answered some of the questions differently, but it is what it is.
What happened? We saw online there was basically kind of call a mini pilot that was put online about the whole experience coming in and winning the main event. 2 + 2 ate it up, which is surprising because they hate everything.
Yeah.
I would say it's 95% positive. We watched it. We liked it too. We thought it actually had some potential. Do you have any desire to get involved with something like that again, or is it just a little too close and personal for you?
Little of both. I mean, I was presented with the idea of doing it during the break. I thought it was a cool idea, and I took upon any opportunities I got at the time. So I started doing the reality show or whatever, and I think it's more going to be like a documentary now. Okay. I didn't really like the whole reality part of it, so I think we're still looking to see what direction we're heading with that. And I don't know, I didn't like some parts of it.
Did you like the break? You mean as far as getting to the final table and then having?
I wish it wasn't so long.
Yeah,
long.
Because I could
3
imagine
months is a long time.
Every single day you're thinking about the final table. You really can't. It's almost like your whole life's on pause.
And everyone's talking about it, and you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you sleep every night and just think about what's going to happen. 9th and 1st is such a huge difference.
Yeah.
We have some viewer questions for you. At such a young age, what have you done to set yourself for the long road with your new success?
I guess I'm just treating it like another poker tournament. I mean, I haven't really bought anything new. Just everything's in the bank. It's just a bigger bankroll now. It's a little easier. I don't really have to get back to 10Ks anymore. So
I like this question. Do you stay in touch with Darvin Moon?
No, I don't stay in touch with him.
By the way, we were talking before. Thank you for winning and not letting Darvin Moon win. I think we were saying back then it was just. That wouldn't be the best thing for poker because
we usually do a good for poker, bad for poker, meh for poker. Yeah. When we first put it out, when the November 9, we didn't know a lot about you. We put meh. We didn't put you bad, but we put meh. After it was over, we moved you over to the good category. It was clearly a good thing. Yeah, it was a good thing for poker. Darvin Moon though, from get-go, bad. Not that he's a bad guy, and he actually played really well. And he played great against you heads up too. But he kind of would have dropped off the grid. He probably would have been the guy like me. I would have gone 2 middle fingers up in the air and screw you guys, I'll never see you again. Not so much on the ambassador role. So anyway, to Colin's point, thank you. We appreciate the
try my best. Make everyone else happy.
Somebody asked, what kind of books did you read so far? And we had Phil Gordon on earlier, and he's written poker books. And we were talking about 5 years ago, that's how you got a poker education. You read, Super System and Phil Hummon's books and whatnot. I mean, did you have an education through reading books or just playing online?
I didn't read too many books. I read a few of Dan Harrington's, and the more books I read were math-based books. But I didn't do too much reading books. I did a lot of learning online, and a lot of those online websites that help teach you. When I was younger, I started off by learning there, and then I had some friends that were older that played for a living. So if I had any questions, I would go to them, and then just work my way up through the stakes. You learn so much through experience. I think that's where I learned the most is just putting in the hours in the hands.
Yeah.
The taxes question, Cali Poker seems to be hitting that one hard.
Yeah. Somebody's asking
how much you paid in taxes.
Enough would be a good answer.
Yeah. Well, it's this. I mean, it's pretty much the gambling winnings percentage, right?
Right.
Yeah, basically.
So do the math. We're not big fans of math.
Yeah,
ourselves.
we're not big math guys, and whatever. What is it, like 38%, probably something around there. But on top of that, you had your backers. You still had to pay your backers for the main event last year, but you're backer free at this point, so you're pretty much.
I'm the backer now.
Yeah. Are you backing other people now?
Yeah.
Has that been going well?
It's been going all right. I mean, it's down a little bit, but not really much at all.
Some of our friends are pretty successful at backing people. How do you go about picking who you're going to invest your money into?
Well, I got people I trust and back home, that kids I went to high school with that played for a living before this, but they played $100 MTTs, like $150 MTTs, not quite like the 1Ks or like 2Ks and stuff like that. And they've been doing a living for like 4 years too. So just close friends that played medium stakes before.
One of the questions that came in, we'll rephrase this a little bit, but you ran like God at the final table. You had a great final table. Were you feeling, what was going through your head when you're making all the hands? Did you just kind of feel that momentum was going to carry you through the win? At what point?
Yeah, I definitely pictured the final table going differently in my head. And especially I was hurting when I made that bluff against Darvin, but like everything told me I had to make it just because it was correct, the way the hand was played and how many draws there were, and the player like Darvin to call the turn and lead the rib. I'm not sure if you remember the hand. But that hand was not the brightest part of the table. Then I got low. I think the worst mistake I made at that table that everyone overlooks is the ace-jack versus ace-king hand, but I was getting close to 2-1 and Shulman went from 20 million to 5 million. I had to look at crippled my stack, so I think that was the biggest mistake I made, and that was 7-handed, and when we got to 5-handed, it was just like a victory right there in itself because I had like 3 big blinds, and I had to call it off with jack 5 off, and he had 4-5. They didn't really show that. But so when we got down to 5-handed, it was basically, when I got in with the lower pair, I'm like, oh well, it was a good run. And then I sucked out, and it wasn't the reason why I shoved, of course. Like I chipped up 27% if he would have folded, and it's 5-handed at that point, and I bought like 17 big blinds, and he's raising king queen, king jack, ace jack, 16 ways to make those hands, and 3s are basically the same hand as 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s because he's folding all those. Right. So there is reasons why I shoved. It wasn't just like, oh, I hope I double off here and try to get back to a normal stack. And once I won that hand, it was shocking. You don't really expect to get hit 2 outers. Yeah. And then got down to 4-handed. Cooler with Buckman. All the hands were pretty sick. There's some pretty sick hands. Everyone got knocked out.
Yeah.
How would you, like, looking back at your win, how would you like people to remember you as the champion? I think each last like 5 or 6 years, each champion has had something that people remember them by. What would you like?
Yeah, I got lucky, but I would like to, I'm a good player. I had good online stats before, and it's tough every game you play, and it's like always luck. I got lucky.
Yeah.
That's part of the game sometimes, Even if I didn't suck out, I still have to get lucky to get there. You have to get put in the right situations. You have to be on the right end of the cooler. Chipping up nicely and doing it right is great. You're going to get that a lot, but there's going to be situations where you just can't avoid, and you're going to lose your money.
Yeah. You were among the chip leaders after the first day, right?
Yeah, after day 1C, I was chip leader through A, B, and C, and normally I'm never the chip leader because I'm pretty nitty at the beginning, but we got put in great situations where I had a weak table, and I remember there's one pot, the pot was like 600, and there's one card of the nuts, and the board we had like 5, 6, 7, 8 of clubs, at 9 above, and the pot went from 600 to 80-some thousand in a 4-way pot. Like, I don't know how that happens, but I got put in good situations like that where, I got a lot of chips easily.
Well, the main event has started on day 1 right now. There's thousands of players that are, playing right now. What's your advice to them for getting to a field like this?
You gotta be patient. In the beginning, you're like, me saying be patient, look on TV, it may not be the case, but at the beginning, you start off with so many big blinds and no annies. You had a 10-player table. What's the point of mixing it up? You're gonna pick up a few big blinds. So it's more about being patient. At the beginning, it's a long tournament.
No, we know you got to be out of here by 5, and we got exactly 1 minute to do this. We do a speed round of questions at the end. Right. We don't have the graphic, so it's the poker metaphor for answering a lot of questions in a short amount of time. Tell me when you're ready.
Ready, go.
All right. The greatest perk to being the main event champ is?
Meeting celebrities.
The thing I hate most about the French is...
Nothing.
Wow. You're like the only one. You're the only American. Your girlfriend most loves blank about you.
Personality.
A nickname I'd like to give myself is blank.
Man, I suck at this.
Anything?
I have no
Do you
idea.
have any nickname? Anything?
I have no nickname.
No nickname.
No nickname.
We got to work on
Not
that.
creative
It's better
at all.
than the Shadow, right?
Shadow.
Actually, I love the Shadow. That's a great nickname for Jerry. Yeah. We asked this one to Phil Gordon too. The last movie that made me cry was.
No movie.
No movie's ever made you cry.
Wait, hold on.
Something's
I
gotta
lied.
make you. He
What's
cried.
that,
Gordon cried at the
What's it
Blind
called?
Side.
How am I forgetting the movie? The dog movie where the dog dies.
Marley and me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it made the
That was-
sports
that was
guy
that
cry
movie.
too. That made a lot of people cry. And that wasn't even a good movie. It was just,
Or the Will Smith 7 Pounds was a good movie.
I heard that was a horrible movie. I think we're probably past
No,
the
this
60
is
seconds now. And last one. LeBron James is going to sign with the...
Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, I hope so. For his sake.
I think Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Whoever
really
gets
nice.
him, lucky team.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time. We know you gotta head out.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck in the main event this year. Hopefully it goes better than the
No,
rest of the series
yeah,
does for you.
that's what I said last year, so.
Yeah. Great. Thank you for joining.
luck.
My hands are pumped.
We'll go like that.
It's a little hot.
That was probably the most awkward
Vegas
thing
bump.
we will ever see on the show.
They will not let the
I'm good at
bump.
making things awkward.
They're not letting the bump die in Vegas.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
See ya.
Thanks a lot.
Good luck.
Our final two guests, patiently waiting here. But two of our favorite girls in poker. Maria Ho, Tiffany Michelle. Come on out.
Hi, boys.
Hello, hello.
How's it going?
We,
Now the party can start.
Now the
Let's
party
be
can start,
honest.
yeah.
Out of earshot. Okay, now.
let's have some.
Now it's gonna go down.
Y'all were both
You just
last
said,
woman
you just said
standing.
y'all.
I'm from Georgia. What the hell? What do you expect? Of course I'm going to say it.
Made me like you a little more than I already did.
Last woman standing. We want to talk about the last woman standing cup because we haven't done it yet, and we're making this part of the World Series from here on out. So first question for you: how meaningful would it have been if we had given you the last woman
I
standing
was
cup
so
jersey?
listen. We were in maybe Amsterdam or Asia somewhere when the series, the main event was going on. We were on The Amazing Race, and you're not allowed to have like any media or anything. So we stopped at like some little internet station while we were traveling through some airport because I'm like, listen, I gotta know what the deal is with the last woman standing. I'm just curious, all right? So we popped on Poker News, even though you really aren't allowed to use internet for flights and stuff. We look, okay, how far, what happened? We were so removed from the outside world and any kind of media. So I see this girl, some chick from Spain, Leo Margette's, last woman standing, and of course I was interested to see, okay, was it better than 17th? It's just, you know,
Sure.
I was
Yeah.
interested to know the stats. I see how it happened. So I was like, okay, I can breathe, no one's dethroning me quite yet. And then you guys bust out this trophy cup thing, and I feel like I got gypped. Do you feel like you got gypped?
Yeah,
I
but
didn't
our
get a
name's on
trophy.
it, so that's
Your names
all
were
that
on
matters.
it. Yeah.
Wait, how far back
did not
we go?
approve
Are
this.
we in the Tiffany Williamson
I
Sable
think it goes all
color?
the way back. I think we did
all the way back?
Did you say Crazy Bitch on
Nolan,
it?
Yeah.
No, we got Nolan Dalla for Tiffany. Yeah. We got Nolan Dalla to actually research for us who the last woman standing were for. So the difficulty was that you had to actually cash, and there were, what are we, like 40 World Series,
did
and I
they
think there was
cash?
only like
Okay.
7 World Series that I'm.
So-
but there were not a lot of World Series early on where women actually cashed.
Can we get replicas made? Because I think it's only fair. I'll put that on my trophy
Now,
stand.
does Leo keep the trophy, or did she bring it from Spain?
We meant to tell her to bring
Yeah.
it, but we didn't, so she's probably keeping it. So we got to get a new one made. We got to get a new one made. But last year, I think it was like 2 days before we actually gave it out that we came up with the idea and to get it.
Listen,
made.
we would have just liked to have been here for the presentation, you know what I mean? To actually be able to pass
We were-
that on.
And that
We had some
was.
more-
Well, you know what? This year, because last year we were trying to get ESPN to actually film it,
Yeah.
and
We
this
talked
year,
about Morant's. We got
yeah, yeah. But this year with you guys here, and assuming that you're not the last woman standing, which is, you're both in to, you made it to day 2, so it's a possibility that you're going to repeat.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, if you guys are willing to present it, that could actually help ESPN.
Listen, actually,
cover it.
now that we start discussing this,
Yeah.
I think I want to be as far removed from Last Woman Standing because apparently you're not allowed to be excited to be the last woman standing. You're not allowed to celebrate
Yeah, how
it.
do
So
you-
I think it's really
Yeah.
insensitive and disgusting
Well,
handing out a last woman trophy because that is not something any female should
Now,
be
I know
proud
you
of.
don't feel that way,
God
though.
forbid you go and click your heels because you're excited for this title. So you know what? Actually, I'm washing my hands of the last woman standing.
Yeah, Leo actually had her initial reaction was like, yeah, great guys, thanks a lot. But then she came back and she thought about
She
it.
was ecstatic. She was so happy.
She was like, listen, I saw what happened last year with Team Ish. No, no.
I mean, I thought I set a pretty shiny example for her, but apparently no. She still had to go and run and do her own thing, but she's a sweetheart.
Shining
Yeah.
example. I didn't even know who you were.
Yeah, that's
Please.
right.
How
I'm
crazy
sorry for
was it
interviewing
that, I mean, you guys are like best friends, that a year later, a year after you were the last woman standing, that Tiffany went on and did the same thing? I mean,
Did it piss
all-
you off?
Yeah.
No, and actually there was just like this big joke. It's like, oh, be best friends with Maria. If you want to be like, who's the, like, we're just going to keep passing it on. No, and honestly, it feels good to like genuinely like root for people because I feel like in this business, so many people are just like on the DL, not really wanting you to do well sometimes. So like, no, I was completely happy for her. I busted out day 1 and I flew back on like day 5 to sweat her in, and like it's good to, you know, see your friends do well.
So actually, Trishelle, I think needs to. She's our
Yeah.
That's
newest
what I'm saying.
bestie.
She's
So,
like, I'd be the
Funny you
friend.
mentioned,
Has
funny
to
you
get
mentioned
along.
Trishelle because the first question involves Trishelle, and we know the
no,
answer.
we haven't made out yet.
It's,
Yeah,
it
right.
goes down that road, and we know the answer to this because. So Tiffany, please explain this tweet from @Trishelle. I have the best friend ever. Thank you for the where'd it go? Thank you for the surprise massage.
That's something that I don't know if people know this about Tiffany Michelle is are you licensed?
Certified massage
Certified
therapist.
massage therapist, and she'll occasionally come up to you when you're at the Rio and say hello and start giving you a massage like you did today a little bit, and pretty incredible massage.
Thank
So
you.
I
A
think
little,
that's-
a little back massage.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy going on.
No happy endings.
I mean, I would love to give this fabulous, fantastical story about how the other day after sipping wine, Trishelle and I slipped into the hot tub and she mentioned she had a kink in her neck. So I was like, Trishelle, let me be a friend and
Somebody
take care of
type
that
in
for you. Actually, we
Was
were...
this at Palm's place?
No, we were actually playing a Venetian deep stack tournament, and I was at my table. I had a kink in my neck. A massage girl, Arlene. Shout out Arlene. She works at the Venetian and the World Series. She's a great massage therapist. Came over to my table. I had her give me a massage while I was playing, and then just to be a good friend, I knew Trishelle was having some shoulder stuff, so I sent Arlene. I gave her a little hundy, and I was like, "You go take care of my girl Michelle, my girl Trishelle." So it was not a personal massage to Trishelle. I sent her over and gave her a little complimentary massage in the tournament. Although I think Trishelle was probably vague for a reason.
Now, if it's not Trishelle, that's this year's last woman standing, could it be Samantha Ryan, who sweated you on your run?
I don't think she's playing the main event
She's
this
not
year,
playing.
unfortunately. She would love to if anybody wants to put
right.
Samantha Ryan into the main event. She's a solid player. And actually, you know, it's hard because she played a bunch of the preliminary
Right.
events. You don't get enough chips to really show people
Is she
that
good?
you're a good player.
Do you think she's a good player?
I think she's a solid player. I think she's just as good as probably any other, you know, random chick that enters the event. So at the moment, she's not playing, although that would be awesome. That would also be a correct progression.
And I hear she's better with deeper fields. Or deep fields.
Were you trying to get
I feel like that just
You're laughing like you actually didn't mean to say that.
Something like that.
no, I think you did, but it just
She can go deep.
Nice
Is that
try.
what you're trying to say? She has a shot at going deep.
Something like that. Here's a question for Maria. Why haven't you signed? It might not be the easiest answer, but why haven't you signed a sponsorship deal with the Poker Room, or are there things like that coming up soon?
You know, it's kind of a combination of a lot of things. I play a lot of poker, and honestly, I think from day one I've been here for the poker thing, and everything else that's come, you know, outside of it, it's great. But that's, you know, like first and foremost, I just want to be known as a good poker player, and you know, I think I've done that in a lot of ways, and you know, I've showed up at these tournaments, and you know, I've done my thing, and you know, there's been offers that have come in that I just feel like don't really, you know, aren't. I don't want to say like I'm too good for like this offer or that offer. It's just that ultimately, you know, I mean, everyone's going to make money. They're going to make money off of me, and I expect, you know, a fair compensation for that. So I guess,
You don't want to sign a deal just for the sake of signing a deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sign your
That's not
name
me.
away.
To me, it's not about like wearing a patch and saying I'm a part of this. Like, you know, I want to really feel like I'm a part of it, and I want to feel like they really believe in my talent as a poker player, and that's why they're signing me, and not just because I'm a girl who plays poker, because, you know, that's not that important to me. So it's just been a combination of the right deal hasn't come along, and, you know, but I feel good about the fact that I think my abilities as a poker player is gonna, you know, take me to the point where no poker room can say no to me, you know what I mean? Like, if I win a major title or something, like, which I feel is completely within the realm of possibility for, you know, my skills as a poker player. I'm just gonna wait, and hopefully the right thing comes along, and I won't have to, you know, just sign something just for the sake of it.
Maria has a lot of integrity, and that's why I love her as a person. And so probably what she can't say is she's not going to like sell herself short and just sign with somebody that slap a logo on. There's so many chicks out there that just get deals and deals and deals, and she's actually, in addition to being a smart business person, there's integrity there. It's like, you know, I know what I'm worth, and I know what I bring to the table and what I could be worth to your company, and so I think she's waiting out until somebody gets the value of her and wants to like compensate you for that. So
part of getting a really good sponsorship deal is continued media exposure, be it in tournaments or be it in other things. Obviously, you guys have the Amazing Race. There are other TV opportunities that you're looking at that, you know, one, not necessarily to do it because it bolster your sponsorships abilities, but that you're just looking at exploring and doing.
is that a question?
Yeah. What are you looking at?
We have some stuff in the works that, you know, maybe you guys will be hearing about soon. There's always, you know, we both live in LA. I grew up doing film and TV stuff. So there's always chitter, chatter, and talks. We were actually about to sign on with a production company before we got the Amazing Race for a specific project. And so now there's exciting things in the works that we are excited about.
So you guys like the idea of doing stuff together? I know you have a background as an actor and singer, and you're a little bit more just straight poker, I would say, right?
I mean,
In
I like
business,
to, I definitely have talents and other things I want to pursue outside of poker, but, you know, it's never just, you know, I'm more the kind of person that I'm totally open to any opportunities that come along, and, you know, before I die, I want to get a chance to say I did everything.
Yeah.
So I'm open to whatever, and, you know, we've just been really lucky that we've had, you know, people who've been interested in working with us, whether, you know, together or separately, but can't get away from her.
Aww.
So here's a viewer question for Tiffany, and it could be for both of you. But Tiffany, would you consider posing for Playboy, like Genocide did?
Actually, they asked me about doing a feature, and Playboy is not my thing. It's never been my thing. First of all, they actually don't, I mean, unless I guess you're some like crazy A-list name, offer that much money. Actually, no, much like Genocide got, it's not worth me
Is it a
appearing.
buy-in? Is it a main event?
Maybe 2 or 3 main event
Okay,
buy-ins, which is a lot of money for some people. I've just never, not only would my mom die, I'm all about, I've just always, as a viewer and as a like photo connoisseur, I've always thought photos are more sexy when women are clothed and in fun scenarios or costumes. Not that I look at a lot of naked women in magazines, but I just think it's not only more classy, but I think it's sexier when you can find a way to be a little more mysterious. And honestly, like, and to each his own, but when you're nude out there, I think that takes away then from your relationships and what you bring to somebody. When everybody else gets a piece of that, it just kind of, in my opinion, for me, takes something away from my private life and relationships. So I'll do sexy, just not naked.
Sexting?
Sexy. I'll do sexting. I'll do
Seal
sexy.
twit pic. No, I'm just kidding.
Somebody, I guess he's Italian, Giuseppe. He said, Tiffany, I saw your hot guy alert at your Twitter. This is probably broken English here. What about the Italian pros? Who's the best who would fit in your radar?
I don't really know. Do you know what Italian
There
pros
are so many hot European pros, but we just don't know what their names are for the life of
Or you
us.
could,
Like,
if you knew them, you couldn't pronounce them, right?
exactly. And so, yeah, I mean, no, trust me, Tiffany's WSOP hot guy alert has definitely reached the masses.
It's become a little viral.
It's a little viral, like, and all the, like, we've been on the lookout, me and Trishelle as well, and, you know, there's definitely a lot of hot guys roaming around. We do not know what their name is, and it's too hard to snap
It's
pictures.
kind of dropped
sometimes,
off
so.
too. Like, so yesterday I'm kind of trying to crank around to see like what, but I don't just go walking through the halls, you know. It'd be kind of creepy actually. I'd be like the creepy guy that does that task. You're like, oh, there's one. So it's kind of odd. I mean, somehow we started off the WSOP Hot Guy Alert with Jason Mercier, which might be a controversial choice, but Trishelle and I can't speak for Maria, we're kind of into the laid-back, rugged, like,
Sarah Underwood thought
That
it was-
kind of
I mean,
guy.
is that rugged look or is that like the unkept, unwashed?
Just a little bit. There's better days than others. So it started there, and
It's a
then,
mix.
I mean, maybe kudos to Jason, who now I am convinced thinks Trishelle and I are like these crazy stalker girls.
Yeah.
Kudos to him, because then it just kind of, it didn't really, and then I probably just didn't really have the nerve to walk up to a table and be like, do you mind if I snub a pic from a Hot Guy Alert? Although I think it's a good way to start a conversation with the guy that I want to talk to.
It's less creepy than what we do with Girls in the Real.
One, the girls are catching on. So there's a lot of girls that like they see gluten-free Charles.
There's two reactions
They see
now.
it.
It's like they run when they see the camera, or there's girls that actually pose and get up. to the
Some,
camera.
yeah, all the ones that you guys take pictures of seem like they love it.
Yeah.
So-
Actually, I have to admit, I don't read much poker media, but Wicked Chops is the only thing that I read because it's hilarious and entertaining, and then I get also my info.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes you guys stretch a little bit on your Girls on the Rail.
But we have to stretch. I mean,
have you been in the Rio this year?
I mean,
It's-
but you guys do get those hot ones, so I just feel like I want to be impressed every time.
Yesterday,
when I hear Hot
yesterday
Girl
was,
on the
yesterday
Rail.
was a good day.
I did see that girl, and she is
the
hot.
Norwegian.
Thank you,
girl, yeah.
Norway.
Yeah, she was gorgeous.
I'm just saying, don't slack off because you guys have a standard now, which is why maybe after Jason Mercier, which again, it's a controversial standard, I wasn't willing to dip off and just to have a hot guy of the day be like,
Yeah.
Maybe you can be a.
She did that towards you.
I know.
Maybe you can be a good gauge for us on this one. We're gonna do a post later today about a guy that we've labeled the poor man's Patrick Antonius.
Okay.
Is he worthy of one of your hot guys of the day?
dude, he's hotter than Patrick Antonius.
Can we show that maybe to
I think he's
yeah.
hotter than Patrick
I don't
Antonius.
know if he's hotter, but he's a little less pretty boy than Patrick, which
Yeah.
might make him hotter to you. But no, he's definitely he's good looking.
Let's turn
See,
it around.
what's his
maybe.
name? This is what I'm saying.
No
We see
idea.
hot guys all the time and have no clue what their name is. And how are we ever gonna know?
Yeah. So anyway, a post for later. It's about poor man's Patrick Antonius. We're gonna make a joke about him being the obsession of whatever the step down from 2 + 2 for him would be. But as Patrick is the obsession, one of the obsessions.
Here's
of 2 + 2.
a viewer question. Do either of you have an interest in playing the big game, Poker Stars
I
TV
don't
show?
even know what this is.
Yeah, actually, it's okay.
So out of
Tiffany,
the
I'll
loop.
leave the
All right.
poker questions to me. I'm just kidding. So no, I actually, Vanessa Russo is a good friend of mine. We talked about me playing. I'd be interested. I like to get in the cash games every now and then, and I think it's a really well put together show. I think, and it looks like a lot of fun. And yeah,
Do you
She's
still play a
she's
lot of cash games?
Cash game baller.
I mean, you like. I think before. I think when we met you back in
07?
07. I mean, you were a limit cash game player, and you play mostly in LA. Right?
Yeah, I still play a lot of cash games. I play just like the bigger limits, mixed games, straight hold'em. The games with Jerry Buss and stuff. So, we know those are pretty big games. But yeah, I mean, I've always, that's my first and foremost poker income comes from that. Tournaments just something that I enjoy playing on the side. But
Shout out to Jerry. We love you. Lakers. Woo woo. What up?
Okay.
That's all.
I
Put
think
it in there.
you made one of the finals, right? One of the
games?
One of the games, right?
Yes, we went to game 2 of the finals.
Yep.
And-
And
Were
we
you in
lost.
Jerry's box?
yes.
Sorry, we don't
Yeah,
talk about
and that's the amazing thing is, it's amazing that we do something where, I mean, I can play with Jerry and I can beat him out of, whatever money, even though it's not the money that
Whatever
matters to him.
money or $100,000.
We've played so many times together, I don't have an exact tally, but yeah, and, then
200,000.
and it's just so awesome that, we can, enjoy
Love how you
getting to
dodged
watch
that.
the Laker game, and yeah.
Here's an Amazing Race question. Like online poker is Amazing Race rigged?
Amazing Race is, and I've worked in a lot of TV, one of the most real productions I've ever worked on. There's no scripts. At the start line, they're like, here's your camera guy, your audio guy, go.
Yeah.
And as you're driving, you're like, wow, I could be going like a million miles in the wrong direction. No joke, the episode we got knocked out in Amsterdam, we almost got hypothermia.
Yeah.
Like, we were such wrecks in such bad shape, which they're not going to let anybody die because that's bad for them, but it's real TV and that's what makes it good. there's nobody standing around being like, go do this, go do this. If you don't understand a clue, tough luck.
Yeah,
figure
that was
it
one
out.
of the things I was wondering
Figure it
about.
out. There's no producers
There's nobody,
standing
like,
by
there's no one trying to
helping
help.
out.
And then
They'll
what's the
just
deal
watch.
between challenges? Are you
You're locked
isolated
down.
from
You're
each
then-
other
you're-
even, or
No, only you and your partner. You're essentially locked. It's if people think you get to do a lot of traveling besides rushing through towns in a cab, that's basically it. You're locked in a hotel room. They bring you meals until you start the next day.
there was a lot of massages.
But I mean, that kind of sucks in a way. You get to travel the world, but you really don't get to see
it.
all those places, right?
No, but I think ultimately the experience comes from just being able to do all of those things. Not necessarily visit these places, but to do things that you would never do under any other circumstances, and be in your own Japanese game show and eat 2 wasabi bombs.
Sleep on a boat dock in
exactly.
Vietnam.
Search the Dubai desert in 122-degree weather.
It's those things more than
How soon before the main event last year? Because everybody's wondering why you weren't playing. Obviously, you couldn't say anything about it. How soon before the main event did you find out? And what was just the process too going into it? Like, how did they pick you?
We found out about like a month before we had to play the main event, which made it so difficult for
When we
Tiffany
first got
and
here to Vegas.
to like even focus on these prelims. And we're like, wow, we're like gonna go on the Amazing Race in a month. Like, how do we even possibly like play poker and sit at the poker tables, leading up to it? Because there's just such this big thing at the end of it that we were all looking forward to.
Plus, everybody expected you to play the main event because you were the 2 reigning,
Right.
back-to-back last woman standing.
I think we actually, I think we actually left probably the week of the main or a couple days before the main event started.
And
So you had to come up with an excuse why you were gone, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and Tiffany and I, when we were going through the casting process, like one of the first things the casting director said to us was, would you be willing to miss the main event to be on the Amazing Race? And me and Tiffany looked at each other, and it was like a completely rhetorical question. Like, obviously, like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, but yeah.
Yeah, they knew they had wanted to have some poker players on. Our manager had actually contacted them when TV stuff comes up and the idea of reality shows came up. We kind of talked and said really the only show we'd be interested in doing was The Amazing Race. And we liked the idea of getting to do something together, especially because poker is such a single person sport. So that she'd contacted them, mentioned this idea, they liked the idea, and then when that season came around for casting, they liked the idea, and it ended up getting back around to us that, we got to go through kind of the casting process to do the show.
I think I was talking to you the other day, and in one of the rooms, and somebody came up to you and said, oh, I recognize you from Amazing Race. Are you surprised, like, how recognizable you are now? As like.
Yeah, and it's definitely a whole different, demographic outside of poker, and it's a much bigger demographic, and it's just so interesting the kinds of people. It's, little kids love the show, older people love the show, and families love the show, and so anytime people come up to us, we're still surprised because, you just don't realize, it has 11 million viewers, but you don't really, focus on that too much. But it's amazing that people come up to us still, and they always have the nicest things to say, and that's just the best part of it is, it's not about, getting recognized. It's about the fact that, people really felt, our struggle, so to speak, on the race, and just that they really saw who we were and they enjoyed watching us as a team, so.
Yeah.
After your deep runs in the main event, do people take you more seriously at the table? You got bullseyes on you, and they're taking more shots at you. What's just your general, particularly here at the World Series, playing experience been since you've gotten so much TV time exposure?
I think in general, players that are recognized from TV or pros or superstars of poker, I think in general, usually you're targeted a little more. People want to have that story of like, oh, I knocked out Greg Raymer, I did this. They want to have that story. Also, that's at the same time, I think a lot of times now, I got away with so much stuff before I was recognizable because people were kind of scared and intimidated. I sat down, I was, doing this thing. Now, I think a lot of people have this general assumption that pros are bluffing you and always making plays. They don't give you any credit for being a tight player just because that's not usually what most pros are known for being for. They can mix up their game. So I find I get way less respect. People want to play pots with me. People want to target me. People want to play these crazy plays and then show me the bluff because they like to get that rise. That's what I find.
I think it just depends on what your persona is from how you came across on being TV.
What are you trying to say, Maria?
I'm saying that I think sometimes the people who are a little bit more talkative at the poker tables are people who perceive as I think those are the people that they want to target maybe like the Phil Hellmuths and the Mike Matasows maybe. But
and the Tiffany Michelle's.
But for me, she said it, not me. No, I'm just kidding. But for me, it's more like I actually thought that they gave me less respect when they didn't know who I was because I was just a female, you know, and they were just like, oh, you're just some random
And-
person.
Yeah. Okay, I'm
But
sorry.
now, that's okay. Keep interrupting me. That's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
It's your show.
But you were saying earlier too, like in 2008, you were able to.
It's like reverse Vienna and Jake. For people that watched that last night.
That was last night.
That was last night. You freaking missed it. It was unbelievable.
Do you guys watch other reality shows?
She's like her interest show.
Please don't give me
every
any
reality
spoilers on
show.
anything from yesterday.
My life is dramatic and
What?
So real
I
quick,
hate it.
some questions from the viewers because they're more important
okay.
than the three of us at least. Tiffany, are you a talker at the table? Is that part
Oddly
of
enough, no. I'm so quiet at the table. ESPN happened to capture the 7 times I said something snarky. I'm so quiet, which makes it kind of funny. ESPN cameras come around now, and I'm like, sorry guys, I have nothing to say. I'm not a talker at all. I'm very quiet because I think you give away information when you're talking,
Right.
which is why this thing happened because I was in a big hand, and I don't want to give away information
They
by
always
vocalizing.
blame the producer.
No, but it is.
So-
But the WSOP broadcast is interesting because of all the hands that are played. I mean,
Right.
they
They
really
have to
do
show something that
spend-
people
yeah.
care about on TV. They're not going to show me sitting there for
Yeah.
7 days being quiet. So I'm really quiet.
Like when you see someone running good, it's like you didn't see
Right.
95% of the hands that they
Nope, I'm not
weren't
a
running
talker.
good on.
More quiet than not.
Tiffany, from all the UB pros, Team UB, who do you look up to the most? And does the team in general have a good bond? And do you get lessons
I love
from Phil?
UB, especially because it's small. I feel like there's more of a family. You know, you go out there, Tilton Stars, they're all great, but there's so many people. We actually kick it and hang out, the UV people together. I like that it's small. I mean, Phil Hellmuth, 11 bracelets, if there's anyone to look up to, that guy knows what he's doing. So there's a lot of talented players, each for kind of different reasons. They have some really great online guys. But I mean, Phil, not only because he's super tall, I physically look up to him, but I mean, with that kind of record, props to the poker brat.
Poker brat.
I remember when you first, because there was a little controversy when you first signed with UB.
A little?
A little bit. And by little, I mean a lot.
Gone through so much psychotherapy, I totally have forgotten about those memories.
But Annie Duke played a pretty important role from what I remember on getting you signed. Are you still close with her?
Yeah, it's oddly enough, if anybody kind of gets what I've gone through, Annie, wasn't, especially early on in her career, because she's kind of a tough chick, known for being the fan favorite. And so there was a lot of support as I was going through my run, getting a lot of crap thrown at me. She got it. And there's nothing better than having someone be like, I get it. I'm there. She had a lot of good advice, a lot of good support. There have been a lot of things in my career that have mirrored hers, in addition to the Celebrity Apprentice stuff and then the Amazing Race stuff. So she gets it. So she gave a lot of support, and they were, just the reason I signed with UB, 100% there throughout all of that storm in 2008, and I'm very appreciative for that.
Do you feel over the last couple of years that forums are being a little kinder to you, the blogs are being
I
kinder
don't read
to
the
you?
forums anymore, so if you guys, if anyone knows what's going on, I think the Amazing Race was really, really helpful. I feel like over time, I blew up on ESPN coverage for all the reasons that I did. But as you get to know me, as you get a broader perspective of who I am and how I am, obviously I knew that things had to come back around because this one person they were trying to paint isn't who I am. So the Amazing Race was great. I think it got to really show a little bit more than me just sitting at the table bantering with some guy. I don't know what they're saying out there, but I get a lot of personal good feedback, and I feel like in general maybe the tides are turning. But they say in media, if they love you strongly or hate you strongly, you're doing something right. So.
Do you feel the pressure to perform well at the table now? I guess this is your first main event since being the last woman standing.
I feel, actually a lot more pressure. I'm a lot more nervous this year because I realized I have something to lose this year. The first year, it's like, hey, here's 10K, go play. And nobody expected me. Nobody really knew what kind of game I played. Nobody expected me to do well. So if I donk out the first day, everyone's expecting that. Mm-hmm. Now I feel like people are kind of, if I donked out the first day, it would just justify that I luck boxed my way through 2008. So yeah, I do kind of feel pressure to prove to people that think I just got lucky once, even though I've had results since then. I would like to, have respect instead of people thinking I magically just do what I do because I'm a girl.
Couple of viewer questions.
Let's go with
Here's
Tiffany and Maria. Maria, you can answer this first. What poker players would you have at your dream final table?
One of our early questions.
Or
let's
celebrities.
see. You know, I don't really ever have like people that I just like am dying to play with, but I think that if I am at a final table, I think my dream final table would be the toughest final table ever imaginable, because I would feel 10 times better about winning that, playing against the best players than just
So
a
like
couple
Yang,
random-
Barconi.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, so, you know, yeah, I guess it would just have to go with, like, you know, the best of the best, like the Phil Ivey, the Tom Dwan, the, you know, like, that's who I want to play against, and then when I win, I have that much more to be prouder of, so those are my, that's my
I'll go the celebrity side of that question. Barack Obama. I want to play cards with Barack. I think he's cool. I think we could kick it.
He's a card player.
He likes poker, right?
You can smoke cigarettes and play poker.
Let's go with Kobe Bryant. I've actually played cards with him before,
What's
but
he like?
nice.
Over, but
quiet.
like at the table, over aggressive, clueless.
I wasn't really paying attention. Decent. Most of the athletes, I mean, they're like we did the Amazing Race with the Harlem Globetrotters. When they're sitting there traveling for hours and hours, they usually bust out cards and play poker. Not because I'm on any kind of theme here, but Phil Ivey, because I think he's gorgeous.
Where are you going?
So we got two hard Globetrotters.
So Denzel Washington, Wesley Snipes.
I think we're on the
Tiger
chocolate
Tiger
ride.
I mean, if you know me, you know that
She has a little bit of a,
I like the chocolate.
she likes
Yeah.
And my grandfather, who passed away, who never got to see, oh my God, who never got to see me do what I did in 2008.
Yeah.
And he was the one who taught me to play cards. So that would be fun to play with him.
That'd be a weird setup though, with your grandfather and all those other people.
What's wrong with this picture?
Somebody actually chimed in. Tiff got a bad rap. She's actually a very cool person. Somebody that met you at Bay 101.
Oh, thank you.
So there you go. I think somebody had a poker show that they were wanting to pitch.
I think they're talking about
This one? Sorry, or German from?
or French. I think he's French. But it's a poker show with players play in pairs. So like a team. I mean, there isn't a show.
Like-
The full tilt one?
Yeah, the full tilt
Yeah.
one. Do you like that concept, or do you think let's not try to change poker too much? Let's keep the game the way it
No, I
is.
think that poker needs to constantly be changing, because I think that, you know, there's a lot of things about poker that, you know, we've yet to show like the mainstream audience, and there's other ways to engage people in poker, and I think that, you know, a teams thing is a good idea, because, you know, it's always interesting to see how two different poker minds, how you can play the exact same hand completely different ways and have a completely different thought process. And, you know, and I think that could also help people realize that poker is like more a game of skill than luck, because, you know, when you see two players approach a hand, you know, in completely different ways, and, you know, it's two different outcomes, you know, that's really where you can see that you can play the exact same cards, and it's about how you play it and not what you're holding. So
Yeah, he was pretty stoked about that until he found out that
There was a
such a
show.
show that already exists.
but yeah.
So thank you for ruining Dermatag's dream. Sorry about that. Dermatag.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
That's it right
I
now.
think we're good. And that's a show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Do you have any questions for Brian? Let's make a new segment. Questions for Brian at the end of the show. Fire away.
When in about 10 years would that creep you out if I came knocking on your door asking to date your gorgeous son?
Well, he'll be 14 then, so that's a little creepy.
It's kind of cool though. For me.
How okay, she's bad at math. Don't worry.
His future girlfriend is not born yet.
Yeah, it's a
come on,
rule.
give
It's
me
a
some-
rule.
In our family.
Listen,
Yeah.
I usually like guys at least like 15 years older than me, so we could. How old is he now?
He's a 4 in August.
4. They just said 14 and 10.
I'm not good at math. I have another question. Do we get to do that fun little question segment at the end of the segment like you did with everybody else?
We could do it. Why don't you ask a couple questions?
Oh, you guys! Oh, I see what happened. You guys used up all your questions. That's what's going on.
Last week it went like where we only got 2 or 3 questions in, and like everybody was taking forever and explaining their answers. And
We'll be fast. We'll be quick.
And then like so this one I burned through like 8, 10 questions. I'm like, all right, well,
We do the
we could
questions.
recycle. We could
Answers.
recycle some of them
Oh,
and
that's
make
fine.
up.
We'll be
others.
fast, like it's an
see.
amazing race
just got
questionnaire.
all right.
You want to do? I mean, there's.
Short end of the stick. It's fine.
I'm sorry, but everybody.
We're kidding.
After waiting an
know what this
hour.
Tiffany, real quick, how crazy was your birthday party?
My birthday party was so fun.
You
Shout out to
made the
Eve
billboards and
Nightclub.
everything.
I did.
You were we had drove by it.
Greg Miller was griping at me the other day. He's going to be pissed for saying this because he thought that I took out ads in all these magazines to advertise and invite everyone to my birthday when I literally invited 10 people.
clubs did, right?
The clubs did, and
You
he's
were-
like,
you were there.
whatever. You didn't even invite me personally, and you invited the whole
the
town.
whole world. Like, why are you
Greg,
putting
you
out
really think?
ads?
I was like, you really think that I took out ads in magazines and put up billboards to advertise my own birthday? No, the club did
And
that.
the last one before
It was
these
fun.
guys,
It
you
was
guys
very
working
fun.
on some
Yeah, we're
stuff.
working on it. Good, good.
The last one, and this is for your agent because that's who can make this happen. Are we going to see you? You said you'd be interested in playing the big game on PokerStars Big Game, Poker After Dark.
I would do Poker After Dark. I'm not a big cash game player, so Poker After Dark.
Poker
I
After
think.
Dark.
But doesn't Tilt kind of own Poker After Dark? Which
But
is
all the
why
players, I
it's-
mean, David Williams has
Doesn't
played
matter.
it when he was
Yeah,
with Bodog, and now
I have a
he's-
lot of people ask me about doing Poker After Dark.
I think that Poker After Dark could use like some new themes, like a reality TV theme, and have like us,
Oh, yeah,
Andy,
yeah.
John Robert, and
That's
Vanessa.
a
Good idea.
Maury.
That's Poker
Maury
Productions. We'll
Escalante, yes.
email Maury after.
Antonio, Phil Locke, they had their reality
Yeah.
show.
Here's another question. How wild was Tiffany's birthday party? And this person said I saw pics. I assume that people follow you on Twitter. They see the.
Right.
I mean, do you ever feel like you shouldn't reveal everything, or is it?
Oh, please, I'm very specific about what pictures and what
Okay.
information I post. So the stuff you get is the PC stuff. It was fun. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of good people there. My cake was cool. I've learned from my friend Katie Lindsay how to take a picture and make it look like you're having the time of your life. And basically, all you have to do is open your mouth and put your arm up. So if you go like this, it looks like everyone's having a good time.
That's
So
what's great about-
Facebook wall.
basically, every picture of Katie's, it's like, it's all about the open mouth.
You know what's
right?
great about both of you on Twitter is it's all positive stuff. Like I cannot stand what. But I can't stand
No,
like the
because
whole.
we have people that we think that about us.
Yeah, I can't stand the whole FML or the fail or constantly bitching about woe is me.
Sorry.
First of all, I mean, your life isn't that bad for one, and then two, you're basically revealing to everybody, that you're manic
personal
depressive,
laundry,
that you're, because 1 minute like this person could be super.
It's straight up bipolar. Some
Yeah.
people's Twitter is
Yeah.
really what it comes down to. And yeah, no, there's been times when I've been wanting to maybe write something because of course I have bad days and of course sometimes I just feel like venting and it's like an easy way to just kind of vent. But I'll be like, reel it in. I don't want to be like one of those people that I had to unfollow. So I've reeled.
I think after Amazing Race, anytime it was the hardest thing we've ever done. Anytime you have the opportunity to travel and see other countries and cultures and how they live, it was such, and I think we had a pretty good grasp on life ahead of time, but it was such a slap in the face as to, and I've started saying this to this day, my worst day, no matter what crap I'm going through, how bad, heartache, money, business, my worst day is the most amazing day to somebody else. And that sounds kind of so cliche, but it just completely, even when life sucks and people, cry about all these bad beats, I have $10,000 to go play the World Series of Poker main event with. That's more money than most people are going to have go through their hands cash in a lifetime. So I just feel like even though there are bad days, I just have such a positive perspective on life now, even in your worst moment, because there's people sitting on the side of the street in Vietnam taking apart VCRs to recycle them to attempt to maybe make $1 a day.
That was a challenge on Amazing Race.
Yeah, it's so perspective changing. So I can't. If anything, I'm talking about how good life is, which actually Ali Najad made some funny comment the other day about when people talk about how good their life is, sometimes I think it's a disguised brag post. But anyway, yeah, I think positivity is a really good thing to put out there in the world.
Okay, I think I'm good to go. So Poker metaphor, signifying that we're about to answer a lot of questions quickly. You've got 60 seconds.
All right, ready?
Tell me when to go.
Begin.
Maria, my favorite reality show is?
Bachelorette.
We'll talk about that. One thing I don't like about Maria is?
You could say it. You got a good one.
She's too mean and intense sometimes.
One thing I don't like about Tiffany is?
How many? No, okay. She, sometimes I feel like she is a little less. I feel
One
like,
word answers,
I
baby.
can't.
Next time, Dr. Phil.
Tiffany, the poker player I'd most like to blank is Phil Ivey.
No.
Yes. Yes.
No.
The poker site I'd most like to be sponsored by is?
Poker Stars.
7 plus 47 equals?
No.
Maria, I'd like to hook gluten-free Charles up with?
Trishelle Canatella.
329, 329, maybe.
47 plus 7.
She multiplied it. She went.
If I
multiplied.
was 7 plus.
The plus tilted a little bit.
If I was about to be executed, my last meal would be?
Papa John's pizza.
Yep.
What kind of pizza?
Pepperoni.
This one would put you to answer the questions like
Yeah.
When somebody tells me a bad beat story, the first thought that goes through my head is?
I need a shot after listening to your story, but I'll listen.
We're 30 seconds over, but
Yeah, that was good.
that's good.
Oh, let's keep going. Yeah, we should do a newlywed thing where you ask
I
her.
know, like
Totally. Next week on
next week on This Week in
Poker.
Poker. Tiffany has 64 outs.
What? I don't even. No, really, I'm bad at math. It was my worst subject in school. Somehow I understand math as it applies to poker, but numbers. That's why I have an Asian best friend. Hello. She does all the bills.
You do all the driving, she does all the math.
She adds all the tips to the stuff and keeps the tabs on things. Actually, she got a bad rap on the Amazing Race. People thought that I carried the team just because I did a lot of physical tasks. She was a smarty pants. She was dealing with currency and cab drivers and directions. They didn't highlight all the smart ways in which she brought all her strengths to the table.
Hey, good. And on a positive note, just like her Facebook, thank you for joining us on This Week in Poker. This week, next week, we'll probably have a lot of other people.
And your mom might be there too.
Yeah, I have absolutely no idea.
Next week we're giving away Skull Candy headphones.
Oh, well, how about
So-
this? Why don't we thank Victory Poker for making the show possible?
Thank you, Victory Poker, one more time. Go to victorypoker.net to learn how you can submit a video of yourself and why you should be a team member of Victory Poker and how you can win $100,000 in tournament buy-ins, a furnished apartment on Vegas Strip, and a car.
Victory Poker. I mean,
Victory Poker.
should sign Maria. Somebody.
Could sign Maria Ho.
So next week on This Week in Poker will be the Maria Ho sponsorship pledge drive.
That's funny. And the new segment, the newlywed unwed game.
The
Newlywed lesbian.
And date Brian's son.
And Dave,
And hook gluten-free Charles with Trishelle Canatella.
yeah.
Let's
try to make this one happen. That's it. We're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I love getting the gluten-free Charles. His audio is still on.
Charles? Are you really gluten-free?
He really is.